Okay, I was watching some documentaries today, and I was watching Children of the Darkness. That's right. It's about our mentally incapable kids, supposedly, in the United States, okay? Kids with mental challenges or issues, you know. So these kids, how do you want to say it, mentally challenged with issues, or drugged up as we know that we do to America, okay? And Children of the Darkness, children you don't see, children with handicaps, like one boy in here whose parents didn't like it because his kid had muscular dystrophy, a disease that he did not ask for. Okay, and was mentally impaired, didn't speak properly, was an embarrassment to the mother and dad. So they dropped him off here, never to see him again. No contact, just dumped him, right? And I was watching this documentary on the children here in the United States that are abandoned by their parents because of a disease they didn't ask for, or because of HD, or, all the stuff, autism, many different reasons, okay? And rather than working with these kids properly, well, they claim they're working with them properly, but let's hear what happens to children who don't go along with their programming. That's right, their brainwashing, their brain raping. So I want you to listen to this part just right here.
When I say no, you drop your hands and you all say no. 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 No.
At Elan, you succeed and survive if you accept the program. If you don't, there are punishments. They're usually called learning experiences. Residents are made to wear signs for days, sometimes weeks, bluntly spelling out their problems and failures. If their behavior is deemed infantile, they're made to wear diapers over their clothes and to carry rattles.
There you go. So they're made to wear signs. If it's deemed by some other human being to be infantile, then they're made to wear diapers. They're humiliated and embarrassed in front of other people.
If they become hostile or act out,
right, so in other words, if you embarrass the fuck out of them and they dare to say something or speak up for themselves and act out in any way to speak up for themselves,
they're put into a ring. There they have to physically fight one Elan resident after another.
There you go. They're put into a ring where they have to physically fight and have the shit beat out of them. To be programmed, to be brain raped, to be brainwashed. This is what we do to our children, huh?
Until they're beaten and give in to the group.
That's right. Till they're beaten and give in to the brainwashing, to the brain raping. They're tortured. They're beat.
We weren't permitted to film the ring and a lot more at Elan. We weren't.
That's right. You wasn't permitted to film them doing what we do to our people in this country. How do we treat one another? How we treat our children? We're not permitted to show that to the public to see how that we really are. How we really become divided. How we're really insane and how we're really sick. And this is how we treat other human beings.
Supposed to film the boys you're looking at now. When they refused to participate in the Elan program, they were put in this dumpster filled with garbage. They've been living in it for 2 weeks.
There you go. We threw them away. That's right. We put them in a dumpster full of garbage and made them live in the feces and the garbage. This is what we do to our children, isn't it? Children of the darkness. This is how we treat children with don't fit in to the groupthink. Isn't that right? If you don't fit into the groupthink in the United States of Nazi Germany, this is how we would treat the children behind your backs. And of course, they're not permitted to film it because we wouldn't want you to know the truth now, would we? Of how we really treat the children in our country that have issues. But yet, if you misabuse a child that has an issue, like maybe you punish them at home, you're arrested. That's right. That's called child abuse. So that way we can place them in a public spot like this, where we can put them in a ring and have them beat the shit out of each other. Where we can throw them in a dumpster. Where we can abuse them in every way imaginable. Because we're the system. We're allowed to do that. We're above you. We know how to treat other human beings. Not. But I wanted to show you this and let you listen to that part. And just in case you didn't get it, let's listen to it one more time. Just in case you didn't get it.
about the times that you could never sit somebody down and spill your guts out, and I want you to say, I'm lonely and it hurts me. Hold hands and think about that. I mean, let's get in touch with what you are. I'm lonely and it hurts me.
So she told them what they're supposed to feel. She told them how they're supposed to feel. Listen to her.
She was a straight A student and won a scholarship to the University of Arizona. But drinking and drugs became problems she couldn't control.
We're talking about attempting suicide by eating 15 pills of antabuse and then going out and having a glass of scotch. We're talking about waking up in the morning and just because you don't have booze, drinking shaving lotion, just to get alcohol out of it. Okay, we're talking about going into convulsions and going into seizures and going into blackouts that you almost never came out of.
I was at the point where I was pretty wasted one night, and I went out and I got a butcher knife and, started stabbing myself in my stomach, which partly because I wanted my father to, come and say, it's okay, Diana, you're going to be all right. You're a very sick little girl. We'll take you to the hospital and, sew you up. And I just wanted him to know that he loved me because I felt like he didn't. I felt like nobody did.
What happens there? Well, let's see. That would be the lack of the parents showing attention to each other. And the people who become attention sluts, excuse my language, attention whores, because there are people out here that get off on attention regardless of what it is, but that would be because the way we raised our children to begin with. We didn't show them the attention they needed when they needed the attention. We wasn't there for them. And we neglected them. We ignored them. Because your children, from the time they're born, from age 0 to 8, 9 years old, is the most critical time of their life. Even after that, it is critical, but in them years, it's really critical. And if you're not there for your children during them years, well, what can I say? This is the country we live in now. This is the world we live in now, where people don't care about people at all. The only thing you care is about yourselves. Isn't that right? The majority of parents out there, I'm not saying all parents, but the majority, the only thing they care about is their own wants, their own needs. Just like society, what have we all been taught? To look out for number one. Who's number one? Yourselves. You don't care about anybody else, right?
You have to make the decision whether or not it's worth it for you to live. You have got to do it for yourself.
Okay, now watch what happens here.
I want you to think about the times that you could never sit somebody down and spill your guts out. And I want you to say, I'm lonely and it hurts me.
See, she wants her to say, I'm lonely and it hurts me. She's programmed her to say this.
Hold hands and think about that. I mean, let's get in touch with what you are. I'm lonely and it hurts me. Think about that, Diane. Think about that. Come on. And it hurts me. Think about what goes on inside. I'm lonely and it hurts me. Let's go. I'm lonely and it hurts me. Come on. I'm lonely and it hurts me. I'm lonely and it hurts me. I'm lonely and it hurts me. Tell us about it. I'm lonely and it hurts me.
Just like a drill instructor, a sergeant in the Marine Corps, pushing her to yell louder and louder and louder and repeat it. Pushing her and pushing her and pushing her.
I'm lonely and it hurts me! I'm lonely and it hurts me! Get it all out. It's okay to cry.
When I say no, you drop your hands and you all say no. 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 No.
At Elan, you succeed and survive if you accept the program. If you don't, there are punishments. They're usually called learning experiences. Residents are made to wear signs for days, sometimes weeks, bluntly spelling out their problems and failures.
Like what I do,
If their behavior is deemed infantile, they're made to wear diapers over their clothes and to carry rattles. If they become hostile or act out, they're put into a ring. There they have to physically fight one Elan resident after another until they're beaten and give in to the group. We weren't permitted to film The Ring and a lot more at Elan. We weren't supposed to film the boys you're looking at now. When they refused to participate in the Elan program, they were put in this dumpster filled with garbage. They've been living in it for 2 weeks. The boy outside the dumpster is guarding them. If they escape, he'll be put inside. Many Elan residents have tried to escape, but they've all failed. When they've managed to get off the grounds, trackers are sent out after them. When they caught this 15-year-old boy, he was put in a rabbit suit and leg shackles.
Why did they put you in chains and in a rabbit suit?
Because I ran away. When they put them on me, they told me, that they were going to be on me, until I left. But, it's been 2 weeks so far.
What does it do? Okay, it humiliates him and it restricts his movement. He's run away from here 4 times. Okay? He's run away from every place he's been before at least 17 or 18 times.
Did you ever stop to think about it's because of the way we treat one another? Did anybody ever stop to think about treat one the way you want to be treated yourselves? No, you didn't. Because you want to think for somebody else, and you want to think they're supposed to use your brain. Because you have no empathy, you have no care. Because the care's been washed from your souls, isn't that right? You don't care about other people. You think people are supposed to think the way you tell them to think. And then this is what you do to them to program them, to brainwash them. That's what this is. This is brainwashing. Right in your face. This is torture, humiliation, brainwashing. This is abuse. That's what this is. This is abuse. If you've done this to your children, or if you've done this to another adult human being, what they're showing you here, you'd be in jail. But yet our system does this regularly, doesn't it? Behind your backs.
I won't run away again. I told them that. I told them I won't run away again. But if they were going to put me in jail, they put me in jail. If they wouldn't, they'd have to maybe walk around with shackles on.
This boy's been in and out of juvenile detention centers for years and faced charges of breaking and entering and assault. For him, it was either Elan or jail.
The kid has no idea what prison is like. Somebody has got to introduce to him some realistic concepts of what's ahead of him, and he's going to hit jail if he doesn't change. What's going to happen to him? He's 5'6". He's got bright orange hair and blue eyes. How long is he going to last in jail?
I'm not a dog. I'm not even a person anymore. This is supposed to be America.
There you go. It's supposed to be America, It's supposed to be America, Land of the free. We're supposed to be caring, ain't we? We're supposed to care about other people, ain't we? Do you suppose maybe his upbringing and his 15 years old, he's been in and out of juvenile detention centers, breaking into places and into trouble? Don't you suppose that came from his upbringing? Yes, you're damn right it did. Came from his upbringing, what he was around. But you didn't care what your children was around, did you? No. As I said before, from 0 to 7 to 8 years old, it's the most critical time. It's even critical after that, but them are the really most critical times. This is when you shape and form who they're going to be. So when you're in an environment where you're ignored, you're neglected, you're abused by your family, by the people around you, you see what they're doing and they're doing things that is wrong. This is what you learn. This is what you know. When you have people don't teach you right and don't care about you, because they don't care about you, because you know they care about themselves. So what if you're their children? They don't care about you. They care about themselves. Oh, they tell you they love you. Oh, they say all the words, but they don't really mean it. Oh, they've convinced themselves that they do as they ignore you and neglect you, because this is the world we live in now. And this is what our system does to your children behind your back. This is what we've become, huh? Sickening and sad. It really is. I'm not showing you the rest of this because I can't show you the rest of this, but I'll leave you the link to it. We'll see how long it stays up, since YouTube don't like us showing you the truth, do they? No, Google, YouTube, they don't like the truth. So I was going to place this video up on my main channel, but I decided against it. I decided against it for good reason, because of all the channels that's been taken down recently by Google. It shouldn't be being taken down by Google, but when you have a criminal government, a criminal justice system, and you have criminals controlling Google, and that's what these people are over at Google that are running YouTube. They're criminals. They're following the orders like the good little puppets they are, and they're not thinking about what they're doing. Not at all. They can't even back up and think for themselves that they're doing, if I'm doing this to other people, that this is going to come back onto them when it's all said and done. That the same rights they're taking away from us here on YouTube will be taken away from them when they're all through using them. But they're not smart enough to figure that out. And they won't be smart enough to figure it out until it happens to them. Then they're going to be upset and mad, and the only thing they can tell them people over at Google is, go look in the mirror. You brought this onto yourself. You follow your orders like a good little slave, and you take other people's rights away from them thinking, oh, it made me feel big, until you find out when it's all said and done that you lost the same right yourself. Then you're going to be upset. But you have nothing to be upset for, because obviously you want to have the same rights taken away from you too. And when you say, no, they won't do it to me, just keep fooling yourselves, because that's what you're doing. You're fooling yourselves. But that's what ignorance does. Ignorance gets people dead. History replays itself. But I wanted to show you how we're treating our children and how we're treating people in the United States. I want to show you how brainwashing really works. How we can take people, kids, and we can take young adults, young teens, or, 18, 19, whatever, that some of these probably was, maybe even a little older, young adults, that got hooked up on alcohol and drugs, and we can place them over here along with the 15-year-old boy. How we can drug them up with big pharma drugs, because that's exactly what they're doing. And how we can force them to comply, and furtherly damage them, abuse them. As you're seeing, the abuse that they're laying on these people, if anybody else placed that kind of abuse on somebody, they would be in jail. But as you can see, the system's laying this abuse on them under your nose. And for some reason, they're not in jail. Well, of course they're not in jail, because they think they're above the rules. This is why I said before, we're in a lawless land. That's where we're at. We're in a lawless land. But I placed it over here. For one, I'm over my time limit on my other channel. For two, it's my main channel. And since Google's been ripping channels down left and right and making their rules up as they go, I'm sure they're not going to want people to see this one neither. And they're not going to want to see the link below. I'm sure of that. Because they don't want you to see this now. You can be positive of that they don't want you to see this. But that's just tough titty. Because people need to see how we're treating one another. And you need to remember, like the 15-year-old, the reason he's where he's at is because of the failure of the parents. No lie. The failure of our society, our school system, and our parents. Because the parents, not all parents, but the majority of parents in today's society, they've lost one major thing, and they don't even see it. Their ability to care for others as much as they care about themselves. Their ability to take the time to care. And because of that, this is why the 15-year-old's where he's at. It's sad, but it is the reality, and it is in your face. So I wanted to show you this because it is right here in our face. As I said, divide and conquer has won. Ignorance has won. The dumbing down has won. And we've lost. As far as stopping the New World Order, that's a joke. The New World Order has been officially here since we opened the United Nations. The United Nations is basically there for one reason. It gives the puppeteers, the governments of across the world, a spot to meet with the corporations and bankers to plot their next plans to throw onto the people. Then they go back and they put on their acts for their people. Oh, China's mad at the U.S. Oh, the U.S. is mad at China. Russia's mad at the U.S. The U.S. is mad at Russia. Russia's mad at China. China's mad at blah, blah, blah. It's all scripted out. They talked about it in the United Nations meeting. Then they went back and lied to their people, to their media, so that they could pit me and you against them. So they could pit us people across the globe against each other and get us to kill each other for their selfish wants. Meanwhile, they're laughing because they put a puppet show on for you and you all fell for it. That's what the United Nations is all about. Fooling the people of this world as they get together and make their plans and go back and lie to you. So I don't care if you're in Russia, I don't care if you're in China, I don't care if you're in Ukraine, you're being lied to by your government. Your government's in bed with the bankers. The bankers and corporations have got control over this whole planet. New World Order has been here and is here. So you're not stopping them from getting a New World Order when they already have it. And until people wake up and realize what's really going on, it's just like what you see here about our children. That's right. It's what you see here. How we're treating these kids behind your back. How we threw these boys in the dumpster with the garbage and made them live in the dumpster with the garbage. How we put them in a ring and had them beat the shit out of each other until they comply. That's how sick this world's become. It's disgusting, it's sad, it's pathetic.